Well, good morning, good day, good evening. I just on my way to Auburn and woke up last night with a thought. I guess you could say a problem I have with the 3 days of darkness prophecy. What about the people that are in hospitals, nursing homes, prison for that matter? And they don't have access to, closing up their windows and lighting a candle, that's blessed. What about people in remote areas? Christians, let's say Christians, in remote areas that never heard about this. But, during the time of these prophecies in the 1800s and up to the 1900s, such and up to present, originally the prophecy, where did it originate? I guess that's questionable. But the world has changed a lot. You got a lot of devout people that are in nursing homes and in hospitals now. They don't have any authority to do these things, to take care of themselves and prepare. As in the days of old, not too long ago, really, everything was family-centric. What happens to those people? Now, in the book of Exodus, on the 9th plague, the slaves, the Israelites, the slaves of Egypt, they probably were a pretty tight community, I imagine. So they had time to get the word and to prepare by painting blood from the sacrificial lamb over the top of their door sill, facing out towards the street, and on the right and left. So they had 3 marks. So the angel of death would pass them over their home. But the world's changed. Christians are all over the world. And some of them are in remote places. Some of them are in hospitals. Some of them are in prisons. Some of them are serving in the military in remote places. What about them? They're not like me, I've got a beeswax candle and matches and drinking water, and I can close up my doors and windows. It is the end times. It's supposed to be terrible. Now, Jesus Christ himself did say on the Sermon of the Olivet that the sun would darken, the moon wouldn't give its light, and the heavens would be shaken. So this is from Christ himself. So the concept of 3 days of darkness isn't really that far out in regards to the Bible. But that's all. I just question things. And when I came across this whole thing about 3 weeks ago, it really disturbed me, honestly, for some reason. And they usually don't. I usually see stuff like that and I just gloss over it or don't give it a second thought. Honestly, it's just people sensationalizing things, and they do. I mean, you don't know what to believe anymore. So, I don't know. It's God's world. Whatever his plans are, this 3 days of darkness may be not true. I mean, well, Jesus did say, and whatever Jesus said is true. He did say the sun would stop giving its light, the moon would not give forth its light, and the sun would darken. In the book of Matthew, I believe Matthew 22, I'm not sure the verse. I cited that a couple times in this. So, in the end times, according to Christ, the earth is going to go black. And the heavens will be shaken. Which I would interpret, meaning there's going to be some really strange things going on in the sky. And it's going to be pitch black. So, I guess whatever God's plans are for people, it is what it is. I mean, with the days of the internet, this prophecy is making its rounds on the World Wide Web quite a bit. So, who knows? I don't know. It's just I woke up, wait a minute, a question. A problem I have with the 3 days of darkness, where I would say this isn't really feasible. Is God going to abandon His faithful who didn't get the word to prepare? That doesn't seem in keeping with God's nature. But then again, like I said, Christ himself stated that in the end times the sun would go black, the moon would, like I've been saying, it's going to turn dark and the heavens will be shaken. And Jesus said it would be terrible times. In other talks on the end times, it'd be a terrible, terrible bad time for the earth in the end days. So, I don't know. I just thought I'd put that out there. That said, I do believe it's good to have knowledge, and this is knowledge. Good to be prepared. I've driven up and down this road quite a bit. It's the way to Auburn. It's the way I go. I could go on the other side of the lake. It might be a little quicker, but this is more scenic, kind of more relaxed. The other side is like faster, straight line, not as rustic. And this was the road Jen lived on most of her life, almost all of her life. Well, most of it. Her childhood, teen years, and her final years. And she died on this road. But it's also a very pretty drive. You can't see, but off to my left is a lake, all green, Wasco Lake. Very in the hills beyond it. Very scenic here. I guess that's about all I had to say on that. I'm going back to work soon. Really need to. I don't know what to do with myself. Retirement's overrated. In my mind. For me it is. I'll get up on this hill and see if I can give you a glimpse of down below the lake. It's a good view up here. Working on my flute music and getting back into guitar now that I'm not working, but I'm going back to work. I just don't have a lot of time and energy for that stuff when I'm toiling away. But if I want to go back to France, I'm thinking about going to Brazil as well, to the ocean. I'm going to need to raise some money. Even if I don't do these things, I need to have a little more money. Here's a view of the lake. I better just turn around here. Right on this crest here. Isn't that pretty? Man, beautiful area, central New York. I just thought I'd share that with you. And that question that I woke up at 3 in the morning with, Always waking up at 3. And then I go back to sleep, but I don't sleep well. Yeah, what about the people that didn't get the word? I mean, but you know, disaster befalls Christians. I mean, I don't know. I guess that's up to God. God will do what God will do. Praise the Lord. I don't know. I was just wondering. What about them? I'm sure the Lord has plans for each one of them as well. I don't know. I'm not saying that 3 days of darkness prophecy is something that's going to come to pass. I settled on it, and it took root. And like I said, maybe because I generally don't give these things any credence, but I did this one. I thought about it, and it was like the stuff of nightmares. I think it's bad being in my house at night, just hearing random noises and occasionally a voice or something. What about being in there during the 3 days of darkness when demons are allowed to roam the earth for 3 days? And people screaming, and they're trying to deceive you to get in. It sounds like something right out of a horror movie. Maybe just me. I'm getting kind of weary of life at this point. Not complaining, but it's just, you get problems that just don't go away sometimes. That's life, though. I'm not saying I'm unique in that way, but and my loved ones have gone on to be with the Lord, and undoubtedly a part of me is like, man, I would wish Christ would come back. So we could just turn this off, end this existence. Though it's beautiful, like today's a beautiful day, and I give thanks to God every day for my life and for what I have. But part of me is weary, and maybe that contributed to why I, took note of this dark prophecy of end times. That, and I admit the 3-eye Atlas comet, whatever it is, has piqued my interest. You don't know what to believe. There's all kinds of things. You don't know who to believe. Really, it doesn't matter. So I look at it, and I don't believe any of it. I am just looking at it. It is what it is. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what I think. But it's interesting. Combine that with everything and things going on in the world. Israel under attack. The October 7th thing. And darn well Israel's enemies would like to wipe them off the face of the earth. All they got to do is get that nuclear bomb or something. And the war in the Ukraine, which is horrible. And civil unrest. Going on all over the world, really. And now with the death of Charlie Kirk, the right is starting to finally wake up. The silent majority starting to wake up. They've had enough of this left-wing woke liberalism, anti-Christian, insane stuff. A lot of it. So it's getting to be it's always been a troubled world, but I don't know. I blabbed on a bit, but I just kind of want to take you along for a ride and float that thought by. What about the people that live in remote areas, or they're shut-ins, or they're in nursing homes, hospitals, prisons, out to sea on a ship, or something like that? What about them? Christians, devout people. I would think it would be like when I worried about people once before, when I talked to God and I was concerned about them. And God told me I have plans for them as well, for a certain person. He told me I have plans for them as well. In other words, I've got this covered. I would say that would apply. That's my answer. God has plans for them as well. All right, take care.